Hi, good day everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Our discussion today centers around a critical question in the field of cybersecurity. Is AI a guardian or is it a risk? AI today in the heart of security operations, from detecting threats faster than humans ever could to predicting vulnerabilities, automating the responses, strengthening our defenses. In that sense, it acts as a true guardian of our digital world. But at the same time, adversaries are also weaponizing AI, creating more sophisticated phishing campaigns, deep fake attacks, automated attacks, exploiting vulnerabilities at a scale. These risks challenge our ability to stay ahead. As a comparison, 73% of the firms today use AI in security. Yet, AI-driven security attacks rose by 47% in 2025 year to date. In this session, we are here to explore both sides, the opportunities for AI to enhance the cyber defense and create more cyber resilience, as well as to ensure that the risk that demands stronger governance, awareness, and ethical use. So, no doubts, AI is reshaping cybersecurity, but is it our greatest guardian or our biggest risk? Let's dive into this important conversation. And with no further delay, I'm happy to welcome our panelists for the day. Kavita Ayappan, CISO, Neurealm. Kavita is a seasoned cybersecurity and a privacy leader with extensive experience driving strategic initiatives in governance, risk, and compliance. Kavita has consistently demonstrated a strong ability to align security practices with business goals across multiple geographies. Her experience spans across product-based companies, IT service companies, and large NBFCs. She has also led enterprise-wide privacy and data protection programs across various geographies like GDPR, PDPA, PDPL, Manila, Australia privacy laws, DPDPA, and fostered a culture of compliance and resilience. Kavita has a master's degree in computer science engineering from SRM University and currently pursuing her PhD from Hindustan University in cybersecurity. Kavita lives in Chennai with her husband and two kids. Welcome, Kavita.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhavani, for that introduction. Very nice.
So we have Tushar Haralkar also joining as a panelist today. So Tushar is the principal pre-sales country leader, security software, IBM India and South Asia. Tushar brings over 24 years of extensive experience in the cybersecurity domain with unique combination of business consulting, system integration, and pre-sales skills. Tushar, in his current role, helps clients and partners to adopt to security solutions infused by Gen AI by addressing their security challenges amidst the changing business priorities, like secure all types of data and identities in the era of hybrid cloud. So, Tushar leads a team of seasoned security professionals to provide comprehensive cybersecurity solutions to the clients. So, before IBM, Tushar worked with other organizations such as Oracle, Deloitte, and Tech Mahindra. Welcome to the discussion, Tushar. Happy to have
Thank you. Thank you, Bhavani. Appreciate the introduction.
Perfect. So I think we can quickly get started. So I have a very interesting question to start the webinar with, right? So what do you think are the biggest misconceptions people have about AI? Either it is entirely, it is good, or is it harmful? Like, what do you feel? Probably I'll start first with Kavita and followed by Tushar.
Okay. Okay, very, very good question. It is actually, this is actually there in the minds of everyone, I would say. So, the time has come, there was one time when we used to have this, the landline phones alone in our life, and then we actually moved to, mobile, and now there is a life without mobile, and no one can think of, right? So, similar way, AI is also taking up that level. So, I won't say that AI is not AI is very new to us because AI has been there for quite some time. But the usage of AI has become very, very, to a very great level of extent. We are actually using it now. And it is actually becoming a part of our life. So that is what I would say. And this misconceptions about this AI being good or bad, right? So for any technology which actually lands up, right? So when the mobile came, everyone said, what are the drawbacks it is going to bring in, what are the good things that it is going to bring up. But now we all have adjusted to it, and now we know when to use, what to use. The mobile also gives a lot of options of health related things, like when to switch off, when to switch on, and all those things. So similarly, I think the AI is also getting into that aspect. Uh, and in the day-to-day life, we are actually already started using it. So what I see quite often is that AI is always framed as a black and white terms. Either we say that it is too good, it is a magic wine which is actually going to make the cyber attacks disappear, or we are saying that no, 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 it is actually bringing in the uncontrollable threat like phishing and other things which Bhavani was talking about, and which is going to cause the damage more than the prevention it is actually bringing us. But both are, I would say it is oversimplifications, because I believe that AI is a dual use technology, right? So you can use it this way as a AI as a guardian, and of course, Tushar will be actually telling about the AI as a guardian by giving a lot of examples, I believe, in terms of how IBM is taking up that as a example. And of course, all the AI risk associated with it also is there, so which we have to take care. So on the positive side, if you take AI, right? So AI is already providing a lot of value in the cybersecurity, like be it mail alert usage, or be it incident response, or be it a playbook, automations, or catching the anomalies in the real time, or detect any insider threat by coming up with some behavioral analytics, which was not earlier possible. I mean, it was possible, but it was not so quick. And even prevent some of the ransomware from spreading it across the network, in the company, like by containing it. So when you take all these tasks, right, so we feel that AI is a guardian. So I gave an example only with respect to cybersecurity, but you can take the examples anywhere, right? You can use it in healthcare, you can use it in because I was working with NBFCs and also, I can see that the usage of AI as a guardian is too heavy, right? Too good in terms of the fraud detections, which used to be a bigger team. Now it has really come up very well in the fraud detections, and even with us also. So I would say that when we talk about all these aspects, it becomes that the AI is really a guardian for us, right? So the work which used to take lots and lots of hours and days, now it can be handled in the minutes. So at the same time, the L1 supports, becomes little lower, and then the L1 supports bandwidth can be given to the L2. So it's a massive advantage for the defenders, I would say. So AI as a guardian, all these things can be done. But when you talk about the AI as a risk in the reality, there are too many things. As a CISO, it really, as a CISO, or, it is not only for the CISO, if you take CIOs, or if you take, the CEOs, or anyone in the organization, when you take the AI in the risk, as a risk, of course, we can't ignore the risk, right? So attacker use the same technology as we use, and then they adopt all these different models to generate attacks, right? So it can be phishing attacks or deep fake. Deep fake impersonations. We know that there are a lot many things which has happened in the real life also. For I'll not take much examples from the general search, because that you can also do it. But in my case, also something happened in the deep fake. Like one of my friends, actually, daughter was about to be kidnapped by actually using a deepfake impersonations, where she was called by her mother. I mean, it was not the real mother. I mean, it was a deepfake impersonations where they use the video and the audio to make sure that the mother is talking to the child, and they are asking her to come to a different place. So this is also there in the cybersecurity, as we can see that it is a risk which is actually coming up. And there are a lot of things which actually can be done through the prompt injections and then the model poisoning. We develop the models for something else, and then the model poisoning actually gives the output in a different way. And everywhere the employees will adopt the tools without the governance, then it is actually creating a blind spot for the CISOs and the CEOs and the CTOs, right? So AI has effectively, I would say that it has lowered the barrier for the attackers and increased the surface area as a need to defend. So that is, I would say, for the AI as a risk, right? So now one thing which I would say that we have spoken about the good things that it is doing. We have spoken about the bad thing it is doing, because a good thing, I'll give you my own example. Actually, I was on an international travel, and I actually enabled the credit card for a international purchase. When I came down to India, I really forgot that I have to disable it. And then one sudden day in the morning around 2 o'clock, there was a call which actually I got it from the ICICI. It happened very recently. And then, that was the real thing which actually made me, save money, because I was not in a position to lose it also. So this kind of, because the card was being used by some hacker or attacker, right? So this is a good thing about it. We are actually getting it. So now, having spoken about the good thing and having spoken about the bad thing, right, with respect to the AI, right? So the key point is that AI is not inherently good or harmful. It is actually the dual use technology where, we are going to make it good, or we are going to see that how responsibly we are going to adopt it, and how much of emphasis that we are going to put it on the governance, ethics, and transparency. That is very, very important. And all the governments, many of the governments treaty are coming forward to put forth this governance standards, frameworks, ethical values, to make sure that the AI is put into usage in a good way. So if you say that, instead of asking the question of is AI is good or bad, I think the real question would be, how do we actually maximize the benefits that we are going to reap out of AI by minimizing the risk? That is what I would say from my perspective. It means that you have to put in place a very strong AI governance councils. You have to put in a very strong AI guardrails, and you have to continuously monitor it. So it means that we are ensuring that AI systems are explainable, they are fair, they are compliant with the regulations. There are many regulations, right? If you take India, we have DPDP. If you take Europe, it is GDPR. If you take Singapore, it is PDPA. So how are we going to make it compliant actually matters a lot. And other than the privacy regulations, now we can see that many of the organizations, many of the countries have also come up with the EU, like AI EU Act, like EU has given the AI Act, and then Singapore AI Act, China AI Act, and our own Niti Aayog, right, in India. If you take the page number 88 or 89, if you see, right, so you actually know that how the privacy and the AI is related. So I would say that if we get the balance right, there's nothing good and wrong. We are just going to actually see that how the human is not going to use AI in a very better way. So it's not the race of human versus AI. It's actually a race of how the human are going to work along with AI to give the better results. So that's what I would say. And as we actually move forward, we can discuss more on what are the guardrails that we can actually implement, what are the tools that is available to make it even more better. So whenever there is a good, there will be bad. But how are we going to manage it? What matters, I would say.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Kavita, talking about the ever-changing threat landscapes and the new attack surfaces that AI has opened up for us. So, Tushar, if you can, probably share your insights as to what is the biggest misconception about whether AI is entirely good or is it entirely harmful? So, if you
Yeah,
can share
thanks,
those.
Bhavani, for the question. And I would echo what Kavita said. Kavita has said it all. And I think on the lighter side of the things, right? The way I look at it, the look at AI is, AI is like a superhero who promises to really save the world. But the reality is, how do we make sure that the superhero itself, doesn't blow up the labs where he's testing his powers, right? That is where the security comes in, right? And that is where I would say it's a battle between a good AI versus a bad AI. And I would go back to the superstar movie of, superstar Rajnikant's movie of Robot. If if you all have seen it, the same robot, right? If there is a bad chip which is inserted into that robot, he becomes a bad AI, right? So I think we all know that the evolution of AI that has happened, right from just ML to generative AI to agentic AI, it has added tremendous value. In fact, in our day-to-day life, right, most of us probably using ChatGPT or any other tool, uh, have gone to an extent that if we are not well, right, we may often ask ChatGPT, can you suggest me some medicine? But the that is a good part. Probably it can suggest, but maybe the bad part of it is, let's say if the data itself is poisoned, right, which the AI uses, it can actually lead to a toxic combination of the medicine, which can actually cost the person the life. Right? So that could be the bad part of it, right? But yes, we have seen people, trying to avoid doctors and ask ChatGPT what to do about it. So I think, as Kavita mentioned, it has become an integral part of our life. It is here to stay. The question is, how do we effectively use AI, right? And how do we make sure that the for AI itself, how do we make sure it is secure, right? Because that is where uh, every user will start adopting it, because the most foundation of any new technology is built on trust, right? If you do not trust, you will not adopt, right? And the trust will only come if the AI is secure. If the AI is manipulated, nobody is going to trust that, right? Especially as a given example of healthcare, right? It's going to cost somebody's life, right? So yes, coming back to your question, of AI misconceptions, in terms of good or harmful, I think definitely AI is adding a lot of value with the evolution of agentic AI, especially. But the attack surface, as Kavita has mentioned already, the attack surface has also increased, which means that we need to be staying ahead in the race in terms of how do we make sure those different attack surfaces, like Kavita mentioned about deep fakes, the phishing attacks have become more sophisticated. Now you cannot predict if this is a phishing attack, right? Because the English that is written in the phishing attack is so accurate that you will believe that this is a genuine email, right? So I think what is required is, unfortunately, from a governance standpoint, right, from a regulatory standpoint, currently within India, we do not have anything very specific to AI. But I'm sure as it comes, right, we will have more stringent regulations around AI, where people will start using it more securely and trustworthy and responsible AI, right? So that is how I look at it, and I think, as Kavita has already covered it, so my 2 cents on this is that we have to really look at both sides. It is both sides of the same coin, right? And start leveraging it based on how we want to make sure that the AI is something which is adopted. Because today, if you look at one of the reports of IBM, which is cost of a breach report, the recent cost of a breach report, it says 80% of the executives want to have a secure and a trustworthy AI. But only 24% of the Gen AI projects are actually going uh, uh, from pilot to production, right? Because they don't feel that if AI goes live, then it will be secure and trustworthy, right? So I think that is the change that is required in terms of bringing more and more security for AI in place, so that the trust is there and more adoption will be there.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Tushar, and thanks for quoting the superstar movie Robot itself, right? Like it's not entirely good or harmful. It's just on how it is being used, right? So, and on the point of healthcare, like people using ChatGPT or like any such AI tools for sharing personal information. We had the CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, give us a warning the users not to share any personal sensitive information because it highlighting the lack of legal confidentiality with a tool like that, right? It's all these conversations that we have with our therapist. It's not protected in ChatGPT. It's like very different from what we have in a hospital with a doctor or a therapist. So yeah, when Sam Altman warns users, then we take it as a caution. Perfect. So moving on, probably I had this question lined up, for both Kavita and Tushar, right? So we did have Kavita talk about a deep fake attack, like in her close circle. So How do you see this as a real threat with AI being weaponized for such attacks? So, whether it could be a deepfake attack or some sort of a very sophisticated phishing attack or spreading misinformation about governments, policies, etc. Right? So, how do you think AI is actually becoming a real threat in this aspect? So, probably Kavita, I'll go with you first.
Yeah, so it's actually a very good question, and I'll also quote a very simple example from the real world. Okay, so the thing is that, if you say that the threat of AI being weaponized, it's not a hypothetical question anymore, right? So weaponization of AI is already happening, and every day it's growing in the scale and the sophistication. So if you just see, 2 decades back, if you want to do a model, or if you want to come up with some new product, we have to learn the coding, we have to sit together, we have to brainstorm, and everything used to happen. Right now, what is making this AI different from the past technology is that it dramatically lowers the barrier to the entry. You need not be a skilled hacker. You need not do a CEH to do a hacking thing, or you need not be a professional video editor to actually do this activity. So one simple example is that, I recently bought my S25 Ultra, right? And I'm mad at photos, right? So earlier I used to go to that Photoshop and do all this, removing the red eye and other things. Now, all these things are actually there here itself. So I don't have to really learn the Photoshop to do things like that. So see, for me itself, like I have now become a professional photographer in terms of, clicking pictures and removing the people whom I don't like, or removing the places where I want to be really good, right? So the AI is doing a lot of heavy lifting for you. You don't have to do it, right? So it means that when I'm feeling so comfortable, right? So the same thing would be the attackers would also be gaining that comfortness, right? So the cost of launching an attack, it has actually decreased. So in the recent times, actually, when I was actually taking few people for my team, right, I was actually increasing the cyber force in my team, and I got a chance to actually interview many juniors also. When I say many juniors, I was actually interviewing the people who just passed out of the college. And I interestingly, actually, I came across a person. Actually, I don't want to name his, tell his name, reveal his name. He was very good, right? So he was very good. He is actually an AIML student from a top college. And he was really telling about all the tools, right? N8 Hugging Face, and, the NVIDIA, OpenAI, and every tool. And then I was asking him, like, what made him so interested in AI. And within 2-3 months of his college life, he has actually built so many bots and other things. So then he told me a very interesting thing, Bhavani and Tushar. He said, like, I do ransomware as a service. I don't know, like, whether it was good for him to tell it openly to me or not. Then I said, like, how do you do it? Why do you do it? And he said, like, I'm from so and so place, and then I'm here in Chennai, and then I need some money. And people approached me in doing this activity, so I have done it. So I asked him, like, what did you do? So he said, like, I had done some bot which actually can, give the jailbreak attack, or which can actually poison the model, and then which can also actually, launch the phishing attacks and all. So no one has to be very, very skilled enough. It can be done by any. Of course, this guy is actually an engineering candidate from AIML background. But still, what I'm trying to say here is that the AI is making it so easy for the people to learn and do things very easily. Then I asked him, like, what tool he used, and he was telling about N8 Wagging Face and other things where the automation is already there. You have to just make a model and then plug and put it over here and there, right? So when you talk about AI being weaponized for deepfakes and other, it is already done. So people are already using it. As we have cybersecurity services, we have ransomware as a service. So all these things are already happening, right? So we all know about that Hong Kong example, right, which made headlines where the CFO was on the video call, and then he was, it was possible for him to actually trick the employees by wiring almost around $25 million, right? So imagine now we have to imagine the sophistication here, right? So attacker did not send any malware. They did not send any fake email. They just simulated a person's face and the voice in the real time. And the employees, on the other hand, they just looked at it. They felt like it is a very legitimate instruction which is given by the CFO, and then they actually approved it. So this is what is happening. And the similar case happened with my friend's daughter also, right? So the deep fake. And I think in 2023, when I was attending a conference, at that time, this Rashmika Mandana, right, everyone, national crush, she was also being pulled into this deep fake thing, right? So I would say that it is already done and the people are doing it. And when you talk about the cyber attacks, of course, like we are using almost every organization is now actually developing agentic AI bots. Earlier it was AI, now then Gen AI, and then agentic AI, and in tomorrow I don't know which AI is gonna come, but it is going to come, right? So the on the cybersecurity front also, AI is actually used to create more convincing phishing mails. So as Tushar was mentioning, the English is good. And actually, we received one from one of the, I mean, that was actually a phishing campaign from a regulatory body to the company where I was working earlier. And the way in which they had actually, and they admitted that they used, the phishing campaigns via AI. So we couldn't even find it out like it was not a legitimate one. Even the fonts were exactly the same. Oh, English and all, it's okay. But, even the fonts are exactly similar to it. So we cannot actually, and the corporate jargons which the company uses, everything, any mimic tone and everything is similar to what, the company was actually talking about. So the click rates are obviously going high, right? And we are actually coming with a situation where we have to actually see that how we have to avoid all this. So now it becomes very much necessary for us to really see that is it actually going to increase in the future, and what kind of misinformation that it is going to tell us, or what kind of misinformations and the societal risk it is going to have. Because every day in the morning when you get up, there'll be something on the WhatsApp, there'll be something on the Insta, there'll be something on the Facebook, and it will have lots and lots of misinformation. Sometimes the misinformation looks so real, right? Example, during the election times, or false narratives. And there are lots of tools which is actually generating fake news articles. And as Tushar was telling about this chat GPT, even Bhavani, when you were telling about the chat GPT, one thing which I really wanted to say, right? My daughter was doing her 10th last year, right? So really, ChatGPT helped me so much, because there are a lot many questions which they used to give, and then we have to actually answer to it. And when you actually ask ChatGPT, what is that exactly as per the CBSE NCRT class 10, give the exact answer for 5 marks. It is exactly giving it. So, now I don't think that anyone is living in this world without using a ChatGPT. But at the same time, there are a lot of things which people misuse it by asking the questions in the other way, right? And it is also when in 2023, when this chat GPT was on the you know rays of people using it, and then there was a mixed reactions. At that time, actually, I went for a meeting. I mean, it was for the internal auditors associations, and everyone were singing gaga about it. And then they were saying that, we are the auditors, we are the CA, and we used to actually generate a lot of reports. Now I just upload it and then I get all the informations in my hand. See, again, the privacy is getting compromised. Informations are being actually going the other way. So though it has a very, very nice way of actually helping us in many ways, which we are also using it, but at the same time, the misinformations and also AI being weaponized as a threat is also increasing. So the misinformations earlier, people used to take a lot of times to create such fake articles, but it is not so. Now you can create questions and answers for your 10th student. Similarly, you can actually create the news articles, fake accounts creations, everything can be done in just a spur of the moment. And that's why sometimes I feel, and also we gave the example of Chitti Robo, which was the Rajnikant's movie, right? So, and then the recent movie which also came for the Sharad Kapoor and I think Kriti Shannon, where the women, I mean, the heroine would be actually a bot, right? So in all these cases, if you see, right, there is one part which we have to understand, is that at the end, the human supervision is what actually is being spoken about. And one good thing which I like the countries coming up is on the AI Act. And when I was going through the EU AI Act, because in my previous company, I was working with the EU clients and the EU areas, I mean, service areas. So the EU Act, when it was brought in, and then when I was going through, the one thing which was very made clear, which was clearly told, is that, all these things are possible. as whatever we have spoken or whatever I've spoken. So it's very, very necessary for us to actually see where we have to use a human intervention or where the human intervention has to come and where the AI can be used. So it was very clearly done is that no judging criteria, that is in any of the judges, right? No judging criteria for criminal cases or any other cases can be done using an AI, right? So these are the things actually it is required from the government, and also that where are you going to use this and where are you not going to use it. So to answer your question, it is already done. So the threat of AI being weaponized is already happening, and now we have to create a balance, is what I would say. So
Right. Thank you so much for the insights, Kavita. So moving on to Tushar. So Tushar, do you have any real world examples or like where you have seen AI has been weaponized and used as a threat, right? Like in any case, like if you can share your thoughts, that would be great.
I think Kavita has shared it all in terms of phishing, deep fakes, all the real world examples. Kavita has pretty much shared it because Kavita has pretty much covered it all. I think from my perspective, I would contribute in terms of what is the solution to really address this weaponization of AI that is happening, right? So from IBM point of view, the way we are looking at is as we all as we spoke about, about the tremendous value that Gen AI, Agentic AI is adding, but we also know the fact that security for AI is required. So from that perspective, our approach has been number one is when we specifically talk about the enterprises, right, who want to adopt the Gen AI and agentic AI, the first approach is visibility, right? Just like we have challenges around shadow data, right, where enterprises do not know where their data resides because they do not know, because they cannot see, they cannot protect, right? Similar challenge lies with AI today, where a lot of almost every enterprise today is adopting AI, and some of the enterprises are adopting plus AI, which means they are basically infusing AI into the existing products, services, workflows. And some banks, right, are going AI first, which means they're creating AI as a foundation and building everything on top of that. Like example is a digital bank, right, which completely operates on chatbot, right? There is no branch, completely on chatbot, right? Now, with this kind of enterprises where they are moving from plus AI to AI first, the first thing that is important is visibility. So how do you, just like you have shadow data, how do you get shadow AI, right? Which means, let's say if enterprise is adopting AI, there is a possibility that some department somewhere is downloading an open source model from Hugging Face, which the enterprise is not even aware about it, right? And what that could mean is if that open source model is getting downloaded, that model could contain a malicious code which is weaponized inside, which could lead to supply chain attacks, right? So it is important to get visibility in terms of where your shadow AIs are, right? In terms of anything and everything on AI, the complete AI inventory. In fact, certain guidelines have just made it mandatory to have AI bill of material. Just like we have software bill of material, hardware bill of material, we need to have AI bill of material, right? Which means you need to know everything about what you have of AI in your enterprise, be it your PaaS, be it your LLMs, be it your Jupyter notebooks, anything and everything on AI. That is number one. Okay, that will help address the shadow AI problem. Number two is once you have the visibility, obviously now you're in a position to protect that, right? But when we talk about protection, as we discussed, right, there is a life cycle to that, right? There is a life cycle to that in terms of the data, because the whole narrative around the value of AI is based upon what? It's based upon the data, right? That it stores in the vector DBs, right? So how do you make sure the data that AI uses, one, has the right quality of data, which is where the data governance plays a very important role. And how do you make sure the data is secure? By making sure there is no unauthorized access, you're real-time monitoring that data, there is no data exfiltration, all those kind of things. Or from an attacks perspective, there is no data poisoning attack. The healthcare example that I gave, making sure that the data is not poisoned, right? So how do you secure against those attacks? That is one. So how do you secure the data? Not only from security perspective, but also have the governance controls around it. So governance plus security becomes very important for data. That is the first part. The second part when it comes is how do you secure the model itself, the AI model, right? Because if the model has vulnerabilities, the example that I gave, somebody has weaponized the model into injecting some code, then you need to be able to do some vulnerability assessment or vulnerability scan, which will tell you that this model has vulnerabilities, okay, and you need to fix those vulnerabilities, because it's always not about insider threats, right? If the model itself is vulnerable, it can be exploited, right? And one of the things that I mentioned, right, why most of the AI projects are not going from pilot to production is because there is no sign off from the CISO in terms of this model is secure, right? And how will that come? Only when there is a penetration testing that happens of the model, right? Like Kavita was mentioning about few of the threats, like the jailbreak and those kind of threats that the model may have. How do you make sure that before it is going live, you're doing a penetration testing of the model? So the second phase is how do you secure the AI model itself? And last but not the least, how do you secure the usage? You know, like Kavita was mentioning, the input output prompt, right? Which is the prompt injection attacks, right? So somebody can actually fool the AI in terms of rewriting the prompt and still get the information out, which is called prompt injection attacks, right? So those kind of weaponization, which is done in terms of prompt injection attacks, how do you make sure the usage part is also secure, right? So overall, I would say from a solution perspective, the way I look at it from an IBM standpoint is getting the enterprises the visibility of shadow AI, securing the data, not only from security perspective, but also having governance controls around it, securing the AI model. But again, for the AI model, also you need governance plus security. And finally, when we talk about the actual usage, when we actually use the AI, how do you make sure the attacks like prompt injection attacks are not happening, right? So this is a complete cycle that, from IBM point of view, I believe that we have to look at this holistically, right? Only then the security for AI will be taken care of, is what I feel.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tushar, for touching upon the security for AI aspect of it, right? So, quickly moving on to the next question to Kavita, right? From a services standpoint, Kavita, how do you define the role of an AI in safeguarding an individual or safeguarding an organization as a whole, right? Like, so, from a services standpoint, you can probably throw some light on the same.
Yeah, so from the MSSP point of view or from the service level point of view, definitely I would say that AI is really shaping up very well for the organization safety and the individual. So there are a lot of things which used to take a lot of time has now become very proactive, and now it has become very continuous, and also the we are able to deliver some scalable security services. So some examples are the real time threat detection and behavior analytics. So the one see when you actually see this particular activity, right? So the threat detection or the behavioral analytics or the real time threat detections and other things. And Tushar was also talking about a product when it is getting launched. Even we are actually being an AI first company, like Neurealm itself being an AI first company, we also have lots of AI bots automations that is being done. And then, of course, it comes to me, I mean, my team for the final clearance. And when we are actually doing the final clearance, as Tushar said, like, we should do the vulnerability testing, we should have the, VAPT done. We have to actually ensure that none of the vulnerabilities is remaining, because the AI ops automation is not only going to be used in your organization, we are also going to use it in the client environment, right? And when you have a client, your client belongs to different sectors, right? They'll be from hospitals, or they'll be healthcare, or they'll be from NBFCs where data plays a major role. They'll be from universities, aviation. So many things comes in. So it's a responsibility of an organizations to see that the data is very safe. So when you talk about this in terms of how it is helping us, yes, of course, this real threat detection and behavioral analytics is actually helping us in identifying anything which will take a longer time for an L1 SOC engineer or for a SOC analyst to really identify. and take its own time to do it. So now it is becoming very easy. I mean, not very easy, but of course it is becoming a very scalable model for us to actually go for this kind of real-time threat detection and behavior analytics by incorporating this AI automations into it. So now the AI is actually going beyond by spotting the anomalies in the behavior. So we don't have to really worry about the skilled resources that we have, or we do not have to really worry about the bandwidth cost and other things, right? So this itself is actually helping us in tracking the employees' logins and transactions, and from the geopolitical locations and other things, right? So all these things actually comes into the picture when we are actually talking about the good things that AI is doing for our organization. Another one is that, because I'm an MS, from the MSSP standpoint, you asked, Pavani, so I'm just thinking of the other way. I mean, other use cases where we are actually finding it very difficult. And with the usage of AI, we could say that, it is actually lowering the issues that we are actually talking about, right? So incident response, right? So everyone would be I mean, after 2020, after the pandemic and all, now everyone knows what an incident is, and everyone knows that sometimes incidents are we cannot control. And the thing is that how do we respond to the incident, and how quickly we recover, right? So automated incident response and ransomware prevention is something which I really like it in the after the invention of this AI, because even in one of the hospitals in the US recently, there was a case where it was hit by a ransomware, and then the AI really isolated the threat within 2 minutes, and it means that none of the patient care was disrupted. Because when you talk about this healthcare, right, so you have to really worry about the patient's health also, right? So this automated incident response was really very helpful because it detected and then it automatically contained it. So it means that it was detected, it got contained, so it quickly recovered. So that is one thing which really I would say. And then the fraud detection and phishing defense is something, safeguarding individuals. I would say that this AI is actually helping us in doing it. So there are a lot of AI powered email filters which is being identified for the sophisticated phishing mails, which exactly looks like the legitimate one. So by learning to see this, we can also play a one layer top of it, and then we can actually protect our organizations, right? So this is something which I would say that it is actually coming up more and more. And as Tushar was also pointing out that the certain thing, right? So in the recent case also, we had like the people were using an API and finance company, and then through which the gold coins and other attacks happened, and people lost the money, but it was recovered at a later point of time. So the root cause which was actually identified was that the vulnerability was found in the API, right? So this VAPT automation, right? So which we have actually we are trying to develop bots for it also, and we are also trying to see that what can be used, the mandate or the virus totals, right? Things like that is actually helping us in identifying these vulnerabilities and then giving a patch to it, or giving the recommendations to it, in a very easier way, which is actually making our work really easier, or are making our surface very clean when we are actually taking it as a response to the client. Having said all this, right, we can use it for the incident response, we can use it for automated email alert response, we can use it for phishing, triggering the phishing mail, or we can use it for identifying the phishing emails, we can use it for automated triage. If you list out all the cybersecurity activities which you do it in a company as an MSSP, everything can be automated, and everything is really doing well because we have started doing this activity one by one, right? We are also developing AI ops automation for many of the use cases which we are actually seeing it in infra as well as in the cybersecurity path, right? But one thing which we are very clear is that how is that AI is playing the role of the data security and compliance. So we make sure that from the time the AI usage actually enters into our company's premises, and the time it is being deployed and it is being used, whatever the data that is actually going to be used for this is safe. It is in compliance with all the regulatory bodies, and also we actually make sure that it is safeguarding the personal data also. So what I'm trying to say is that all these automations which I was talking about, right? is actually helping us in making our levels much higher in giving our services to the company uh, from the SOC perspective, from the the VAPT perspective or the red team perspective, from the GRC perspective also, because there are a lot of automation seen in the third party risk assessment also. So from all these aspects, the AI is actually helping us in doing a fantastic job. And also one more thing is that companies like IBM or any other companies, which I don't want to name because I'm not advertising any company here. Since IBM, Tushar is there from IBM, so I'm just calling that name. So these companies are also helping us in giving us those solutions which uses AI. Now, when we are actually signing these contracts or doing these partnerships, we actually make sure of the data security and compliance in terms of where the data is residing, which region it gets resided. Is the data of ours or the customers is being used for any of their personal learning, which they use it for the further things, or is it compliance with HIPAA, or is it compliance with DPDP or SEBI, RBI, GDPR or anything? How is the data being handled? Is it anonymized? Right, that is very important. It is anonymized before it is used for the training or analytics. We sometimes even ask that, do you use federated learning? Because federated learning is one way of training the LLMs where the data will not even go away from your base data, right? So the raw data will always be there. So these are the different things which we ask the partners or which we ask the tool, or when our own team develops it, we actually make sure that these are the things that is being followed. So in the subsequent questions, I would also like to answer that what are the policies, governance, frameworks, guardrails, which we have implemented in our own company, which is actually helping us in making the usage of AI in a more positive way, right? So that's what I would say. So the balancing view and the way in which the silver bullet, I would say always, AI itself is a silver bullet. So how are you going to use it? So whether as a guardian or as a risk, right? So how are we going to balance it and then put in forth all these things to make sure that AI is giving a best services to your clients and to you as well. So that's what I would say.
Sure.
It's
Thank you so
definitely a boon for cybersecurity, I would say, on the first part of AI as a guardian, right?
So true, Kavita, with the threat detection time being reduced up to an 80%, with which cuts down, the usual threats that we used to take where we'll be able to detect something in
Yeah,
days. Now it's
yeah,
being detected in minutes.
yeah, yeah.
And some of these UBA tools with AI powered UBA tools, they're able to detect almost 30% of the insider threats that are
Trend.
present within the
Yeah,
organization. So
yeah.
thank you so much for highlighting these points related to the reduction and threat detection time, and also the incident
Incident
responses,
response.
right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, automated incident responses. Thank you so much for that, Kavita. So, Tushar, on this, right, like AI is definitely strengthening the cybersecurity teams across the world with real-time threat detections and behavior analytics, right? So, what are some of the examples or solutions that you guys have that has made a measurable impact to the organizations? So, if you can share your thoughts on that.
Sure. So I can tell you examples of IBM itself. So, and this is like publicly available financial report. IBM has adopted Watson X as the AI platform, using which we have completely automated the HR function, right? So we do not have an HR function. We have created an app which is Ask HR. So as a manager, right, if I have anything to, let's say, transfer an employee from one location to another, I just have to say, I want to transfer this employee. It will ask which employee. I say this to which location. That's it. Earlier, I used to go to a portal, navigate to so many links, have to find out where that option is, and it used to be very complex, right? Now it is just simple prompt, and it does the job at the back end, right? So the entire HR function is completely automated, and most of that, not only HR, IT, sales, a lot of automation IBM has done. And in fact, the numbers, whenever we talk this to our clients and partners, they ask, can you tell us how have you saved $4 billion? $4 billion is what we have saved using this Watsonix technology. And this is a financial report which IBM has already published. It's there for everyone to read in terms of what innovation, how have you leveraged this as a platform, right? So IBM have themselves adopted this, and as Kavita mentioned, right, we do partner with Neurealm to in terms of how can we build more use cases on top of that, right? So Kavita was talking about few of the use cases around incident response, which is predominantly around running a security operations center. What we are also seeing the value of AI adding on top of that is a layer of agentic AI, which will run on top of your SOC, which will determine the value that the SOC is going to give, right? So today, few of them are saying that I may not really need an L1 or an L2 analyst, right? Because that job is going to be done by AI itself, where AI will, when an analyst comes, he will see that the AI has already investigated, right? He has to just go through that investigation, and the AI has also given the proof. If it has investigated a ransomware or a privilege escalation attack, it will tell with the artifacts, this is how I have detected it, this is the evidence. The analyst has to just take a call. Ultimately, the human has to come in the loop, and then he has to take a decision in terms of what needs to be done for that, right? So pretty much productivity is increased. Those resources can be leveraged somewhere else. Similarly, the other things that we are doing in our day-to-day life within IBM is today when we do appraisals, right? The AI will recommend us how much percentage this employee should be given in an increment. But the thing here is now it's not only about security, right? Here's where the governance plays a role, where the model should not be biased. It should be explainable, right? So it will tell me that why it says this much of percentage of increment has to be given, because maybe his performance, his historical data, the market demands this. So it gives me all of that visibility to make me to make an informed decision about that employee. Ultimately, human is going to take the final decision in terms of how much increment needs to be done. But the point here is, in terms of AI, because the AI is explainable, it explains why it recommends that, and human takes a decision. It is very important, because if the model is biased, if the model is not explainable, it cannot be adopted. So those governance controls becomes very important, and accountable. It has to be, the model also has to be accountable. So there are various principles the model has to follow apart from the security aspects of it. So we at IBM believe that, and I'm sure Kavita will also echo that governance plus security has to come together to give a holistic view of building that trust for adoption of AI, right? And I gave these few examples of how we are doing that, right? So IBM is a platform which provides both. It provides the governance aspect, it provides the security aspect of which I don't think today in the market. While there are point solutions providing governance, security, but IBM as a platform does both together. And with new realm to coming together, you are able to build a lot of use cases which the clients want, right? Be it MSSP or be it any implementation project, we come together, we solve the real client problems, right? Using this platform. So that is how we are leveraging AI in a real world scenario, Bhavani.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tushar, for highlighting the same. And with just 7 minutes to go, I have few questions from audience, right? So, in the context of AI training or interference, so what are some of the best practices for ensuring data privacy and compliance? So, this is to either one of you. Like, you can probably take this up.
So probably I'll tell like how we follow it at Neurealm. So see, one of the best practices that we do is that when you are using an AI or when you are developing a model, right? So people will be from the different companies, right? So being a service-based company or a product-based company, when you are actually coming up with some AI solutions into your thing. So what we do is that actually we do something called as an AI-powered security solution. So we actually say that what is the AI policy that Neural follows, what is the usage guidelines, what needs to be downloaded, how it has to be used, and then what is the risk impact assessment that we do. So we refer to the NIST AI framework to identify the AI risk which actually comes along when you are preparing a bot or when you are using a third-party AI solutions. And then we do follow something called as an AI governance council, where we have people from the different departments, which is very much necessary. So the people can be from legal, people will be from the delivery, people will be from security, people will be from IT, and also this governance is actually going to see like how this AI is actually going to be used in a company and whether it is fine or not. And then we also have something called as a secure AI life cycle, which we call it as a SAIL, and we can use SAIF or COSAI. These kind of frameworks can also be used to derive your SAIL process. We call it as a secure AI life cycle. And then we also have something called as AI ML audits, which we have to do when we are when we are developing a bot, or when you are developing a training, or we are using AI for any of the things, right? You can use AI for your learning and development. You can use, as Tushar said, you are using a bot for the HR appraisals and anything, right? And then you have to also, something you should very importantly have is something called as an AI specific incident response. So you would be having an incident response, but you should have an AI specific incident response, because when you say AI, it has data, then the LLM comes in, then the output comes in. So it's a large amount of data, right? So you should know that what is the data impact assessment that you are talking about, and if something happens to the data, that what is the incident response that you're going to take, right? So, and then see, when we do this, we actually get lot many things from the outsiders also, I mean third parties, right? So you should have a third party risk management for AI, right? So that is also used to be done. And also we use something called as an AI, ethical AI and responsible usage policy. So this is to make sure that you are using AI for the responsible usage only, trust, and explainability. And other than that, we also have something called as a best coding practices while handling the AI models, where we talk about data encryption, access controls, secure development practices, and data minimization. Please don't use the data more, because since I have the data, I can't use all the data. Use data whichever is necessary. Then user authentication, because it's an AI. AI does not work in vacuum, right? So it has infrastructure, it has all these users, roles-based access, and also you have user authentication. And then you should have privacy by design embedded into it. And then, as Tushar was also mentioning, Bhavani was also mentioning, so governance, data governance needs to be very clearly documented. It has to be followed, right? And also the regular updates needs to be there. So what we should not do is an unencrypted data, weak authentication. Then a lot of libraries we will use, so insecure third party libraries, and then ignoring the bias and fairness when we are doing it, like Tushar was also explaining about the HR thing. And then ignoring that, and of course we cannot ignore any of the regulatory requirements. And then the monitoring has to be too good, and the incident response has to be too good. So these are some of the best practices and the bad practices. We actually keep it there to make sure that people actually follow the do's and do not follow the things which should not be followed. And other than that, we have the guardrails, which is secured by design principle. Explainability, as Tushar said, explainability is very important. Why is it is asking us? Then the access controls, adversarial robustness is something that we ask for, like the data drift or evasions. That is something which we have to really take care of it. And very much you have to go for a secure ML supply chain. So supply chain security is also important. So these are some of the things that we use. And for this, we actually refer the models like ISO 42K, which is for AIMS, and then 27701, which is for privacy, 27001, which is for information security. Then we also refer EU AI Act, and then all this up at IEEE 7000 series. So these are some of the standards, frameworks, regulations also we follow in order to make sure that we have come up with all these guardrails, policies, procedures in place to make sure that anything that is being used in the organization, be it for HR, be it for security or anything, these things are followed to make ourselves very, very secure, and our services also to be very secure to be delivered to the the public, right? So that's what I would say.
Perfect. So thank you so much for sharing those insights, Kavita, and also to Tushar, right? So we are almost at time, and we just wanted to quickly mention that thank you to everyone who joined us today to listen into this discussion on AI as a guardian and as a risk. So we have seen it, we have spoken about it. AI is definitely strengthening our defenses while also creating new complex challenges for us to address. So the key takeaway here is AI is neither purely a savior nor a threat, right? So it is a powerful force. It can be used whichever way that is there. And a special thank you to both our speakers for sharing your valuable insights, and thank you to everyone for your active participation and dropping in your questions. So let us continue this conversation and work together. So, you can keep continuing this conversation. We'll post in LinkedIn any specific questions around the same topic. You can probably put it in the comment section there, and also the video recording, the webinar recording will also be shared with all the attendees. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you, Tushar,
Thank,
Bhavani. Thank you all.
thank you, Kavita. Thank you, Bhavani. Thank you all. Thanks.